Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for the Invincible Iron Man Issue 8 2022. Now this is a great looking cover, but it is not so great looking because Tony looks beat to shit. And granted, again, this actually kind of happens in here. There's a lot of other stuff, but this does portend of Tony has a shit time dealing with these Stark Sentinels that are popping around. So, important note, this issue takes place after X-Men Hellfire Gala 2023, which makes sense because shit goes really kind of quick. So we pop off and we see that Tony's pretty much talking with Jen. He's like, I never felt as powerless as that day in Jen Walters' office. My Iron Man technology was being baked into 30-foot tall sentinels. My best friend was behind bars for something I put him up to, and somehow my attorney wasn't done giving me the bad news. He's like, I want Tony, not Tony. I want Rhodey out of prison until the trial. We didn't kill anyone. She knows that the wheels of justice turn slowly. Back to your problem of the moment. Fei Long owns Stark Unlimited. He owns the patents. He legally owns the technology in your armors. You need to comply with the cease and desist. Okay, I hear my attorney's counsel. As my Hulk, what is your advice? And I kind of love that. You're like, as my Hulk, what do you want to do? She's like, I want to smash for you. But Tony, you set the precedent for all this back when you were waging an armor war to keep your technology from proliferating. Your enemy has turned your victories against you. If you change your design significantly, that would be the only way forward. But failing that, I'm not advising you to move your base of operation to a foreign nation or international waters, but maybe you could operate out of Krakoa, which really wouldn't be the best advice given what's kind of going on right now. I'm going to the Hellfire Gala later. I know what I need to do. I just haven't been honest with myself. I haven't wanted to face the truth. Fei Long won. He owns Iron Man, which is nuts, being able to turn what he has done since the Armor Wars against him like this. And we see them kind of talking, and then we see, of course, the Stark Sentinels and people like, oh yeah, that's kind of cool. If the sight of my greatest achievement, Frankenstein into giant killer robots, wasn't sickening enough, the faces on the folks in the street were enough to finish the job. And I totally get that with Tony. I'm like, yep. He calls them Stark Sentinels, but on my life, I'll make sure the truth is written. Those are Fei Long's abominations, and I would have the same kind of objective there. I hadn't been sleeping. I had closed my eyes and drifted away, and I'd imagined losing. These machines were a rat king of engineering problems that I didn't have answers for. Yet. And that's the important part. Yet. By night, I'd sold the cab stand at a loss. Rhodey's legal bills were mounting, and I was preparing to go underground. Captain Marvel asked me to serve on the Avengers, and I've already let one friend down. I'm just going to have to be stealthier than I'd like, which means turning over the Mark 70 to Fei Long, which is cool to help sync up everything that's been going on with the Hellfire Gala and the Avengers. It's like, yeah, I always love when they're able to do that. Well, buddy, we had a good run. But then, of course, we see it lining up with the Free Comic Book Day. Emergency on Avengers Frequency. Captain Krakoa has attacked the Senate building in Washington, D.C. He's like, holy shit. On second thought, maybe we have time for one last ride. As he goes to kind of deal off with that kind of stuff. But he plans to go to D.C., but this is Carol Danvers. The Avengers are responding to the D.C. incident. We're leaving the Hellfire Gala now. Emergency on Avengers Frequency. Captain America is reporting a distress call from the Brooklyn Bridge. And then he has Boss cancel going to DC and then allows him to go to the Brooklyn Bridge. It was a minute out. He made it there in 15 seconds. I'm going to miss the Mark 70. I love Tony's, like, this team understands him. He's just, like, works. Hi, Cap, Rogue. Anybody hurt? Just my motorcycle and my bride. I'm like, all right, there you go. So the team gets Cap, too, which I always appreciate. Again, when you've got other heroes popping into the stories, it's always interesting to see how they juggle them. So Rogue's like, I'm hoping going into the Sentinel business wasn't your idea. No. I'm guessing it wasn't Cyclops. Cyclops in the Captain Krakoa suit who just committed a terror act. Hell no. Let's get to Washington now. And Cap's like, yeah, we kind of had to deal with this shit. But I do like that they're pretty much talking about what's kind of going on, and then we then shift to later that night. So he's pretty much getting ready to turn in the Mark 70. So by the time Rogue, Cap, and I got to the U.S. Capitol, the attack was over. The wounded were carted off, and the finger pointing had already begun. Yeah. In retrospect, the false flag attack on D.C. accomplished two things. It whipped up ugly, violent sentiments, and it got all the white hats looking the same way. I returned to New York City a couple of hours later and called it a night, only to discover my evening was just beginning. One of Fei Long's sentinels had taken an interest in an office building. what happened next might have gone differently had I been wearing the Mark Nil stealth armor, but I was still repairing it after the attack on the Sentinel facility, which makes sense because it got fucking shit-canned. It's like, damn. And then we see high-value mutant detected, and then Tony's like, oh god, I gotta have to deal with this. I just don't know how... Granted, no, there are people that much in power that they could have a giant fucking robot going after people, and they just wouldn't do it. So then we see it's Emma Frost, aka the White Queen. There's an Interpol warrant for your arrest, as we see her and fucking Wilson Fisk in the weirdest goddamn getup I just... Yep, still the weirdest goddamn getup I've seen the Kingpin in before. I almost had to, like... Now, granted, I've seen. Granted, if you in the comments have any kind of weird... Now, granted... official ones, because I know the internet, and there's probably weirder shit for Fisk to be in. So he's like, okay, so it's interesting that Emma and Kingpin are doing something, and the Sentinels comply or face the consequences. The bigger they are, as he pretty much puts a little kind of like thing to like shut off its fucking jet boots, the harder they fall. First tactical adjustment I made after the Armor Wars. Have cheap, lightweight, and easily deployable ways of disengaging traditional jet propulsion. But I only have a small amount of that ordnance, so that trick won't work again. It's like, that's fucking smart. I fucking love that. Like, it makes sense, and I love to see it in action. And then Tony's like, what am I interrupting here? Captain Krakoa attacks Washington, D.C., and you're skipping your own party to do business with the, Wilson Fisk of Westeros? And I'm like, yep, Tony. I will accept that hit. That nailed it. You loathsome, self-righteous imbecile. Your machines attacked the gala, killed scores of our state function, and you have the gall to speak to me like that? It's like, let me put it this way. Tony, when he goes nutty-doo-dah, nutty-day, yes, you can call him on that. But if he's coming and it's like, what the fuck's going on here? And then we see, it's done. You won't regret this, Frost, as Kingpin signs something. So there's some kind of deal that's going on with them, so we'll have to kind of see what goes on with that. She's probably trying to do something to either have an advantage for herself or whatnot, because that's what I see this whole kind of thing when we eventually get to Tony and Emma marrying and doing stuff with taking over the Hellfire Club. So we'll kind of see what goes on with that. Wait, what? America and Krakoa were attacked? I had no idea. I was dealing with the DC situation and intent was made on Captain America's life. And I love this. Well, at least he is an Avenger I would miss. Like, I love it. Like, even though Emma might not like Steve, as we've seen Steve and Emma interacting in Sentinel of Liberty and whatnot, I do kind of like that she is like, I'd miss him. They might not have the same ideas or goals, but they can work together. And she's like, yeah, I miss him, but let's set that aside. What do you plan to do about those monstrosities? Like, he's trying. I told you at the last Hellfire Gala that everything was turning to shit. You didn't listen, because here we are. As for those Sentinels with my technology, I can't exactly disappear at the moment, build an armor the size of, as he's then cut off. And I love how we see it going down. We see him, like, with his, I'm trying to do stuff face. And then we see this as he explains something important here. I'll let readers of my autobiography in on a little Iron Man secret. If any part of my suit is open while I'm struck, it automatically seals tight. That's why I step all the way out when I land for a rest stop. The armor snaps shut fast. Meaning, if he just, like, opened it to take a leak, his dick would get shorn off. It's like, yep, understand? Make your habits. So then he gets fucking cranged into a damn taco truck. Poor taco truck. Crap, I just realized I didn't eat tonight. And then he gets fucking stomp kaboomed by the damn Sentinel. You should use Stark's arrival to quietly egress, Frost. Go. Fei Long, I know you're listening to me and feeling very clever right now. Congrats on conquering Stark. But you will find you've bitten off more than you can chew by attacking me, attacking the X-Men, attacking old mutantdom. Doesn't feel like it where I'm sitting. I'm just like, you smarmy little fuck. No need for me to play nice anymore. You laced the medicines you pushed on humans. You attacked the ambassadors that confronted you about it at your party. And an Interpol warrant with your name on it just hit the air. You mutants are a cancer on this planet. I am the surge. It's like, damn it, he got Stark in the place where he couldn't effectively help them out and actually is a detriment to them with the Stark Sentinels, and he's like lined up the mutants for his shit. It's like, fuck you, Fei Long. I see. We'll do this the hard way then. In my diamond form, your hideous robots cannot harm me, so listen closely. I'll make this offer but once. Retreat, make restitution, and accept responsibility for your heinous actions, or I'll see you dead under my heel. It's like, this is like one of the first kind of things that I get a lot of in-depth kind of stuff with Emma Frost. I'm like, yeah, if anybody to kind of take that stance with, that's the one. He, of course, laughs, says to pick her and throw her to the street and kill them both. It's like, you fucker. So then we see her get, like, tanked down to where Tony's at, as we get 3 Sentinels pretty much looking on, but we got one missing an arm. She's like, fuck me. And we see that Tony's kind of speech bubble's a little bit woozy. It's like, how was your flight in? Focus, Stark. I am. I'll cover you. Get out of here. It's the suit they want. I'm impervious to damage while in my diamond form. Perhaps it's I who should cover you. You're the one with the Interpol warrant. You want to stay and hash that out with these bad actors? Be my guest. Look, I'm sorry for whatever happened to you tonight, but as he's like helping her out, I've just decided on a winning strategy, and I don't need you slowing me down. 3 against 1 is hardly sporting. Are you sure you can manage? And I love that she actually asked that question. It shows her character. She asked to make sure that he's able to handle this, and just verifying, because she's going to go, but she wants to have a little reassurance. Well, if I can't, at least it will be very symbolic of something I won't have to rehash in therapy. See you around. And then, of course, she starts talking to him telepathically, saying they're at war. We're at war together. I'm going to find what remains of the X-Men. Good, send them my way. I don't want anyone to think I'm stealing their bit with the Sentinels. Wait, where'd they go? And they pretty much was able to have camouflage tech for a little bit as they fucking thunder pound him. And that is a really good... I love the art in this. It really works well because art with Iron Man, you need to do tech good, and you need to do, like, faces and everything well. And I just love the expressions that we get on the people's faces as well. It's best of both worlds. And this is just a great kind of fucking, like, boom. The Sentinels having a limited stealth mode was a real flex. It almost cost me my life. As she's like, if you're alive, give me any sign. Are you alive? Help me. He, like, asked for help because he is beat to fucking shit. Like, he is bleeding. One of his eyes almost shut. It's nasty looking. And then Emma does something that you really wouldn't think. You'd think Emma Frost is kind of like, I'll save my own ass before. But she's like, Anthony, wake up right now. And she goes back to help him. To save him. I like that. And he's like, please help me. Hang on, I'm entering your mind. And then she does. And I really like how this is done and how the speech bubbles are consistent with telepathic communication. So she's in his mind, asking if Tony can hear him. Where are you? You must move right now. I'm here. But you should get away from me. I think I'm going to die. Enough people have died tonight, Stark. And I kind of like that she has this limit. We've had her introduced as a villain and seen her kind of turn up being like, enough people have died. She's gotten to a limit on that. Did you hear me? Enough people have died. Whatever trauma you retreated into, it's real, but it's not what's happening right now. Where are you? No way out, safe, hope. And we see bottles and snow with the alcoholism and everything. And then we see him. I really like the effective use of the different kind of panels because we got it like this, and then we've got a big panel with a little panel here. And where he's like, I'm dying. And that would be tremendously inconvenient given how many other deaths we suffered tonight. You're in terrible danger, so move over, darling. I'm driving. So then she takes over his body for a little bit and learns that it is harder to pilot an Iron Man armor than others think. She's like, how hard can this be? Like driving a car, right? Fire! And then the missile goes and hits another building, like, oops, whoopsie. And then the Sentinel kind of blasts at Tony/Emma, but they're able to jet boot off before getting completely thunderfucked by a Sentinel. What a hard contraption. Who would consign themselves to living in this Iron Maiden? It's like, I get that, but funny thing happens by the end of this issue. High value mutant target Emma Frost has been located. Anthony, amount of time, you must wake up, as they pretty much start going after her. And then we see that Tony is sifting through the snow and gets the original helmet. And the original art kind of style for the helmet as well. It's like, ooh, I'm awake. Thanks for coming back for me. Whatever happens, tell the world the truth of tonight's Stark. Target Emma Frost apprehended as they put an inhibitor collar on her and she's nullified. But we see that Tony surrenders and gets out of his armor. So Phelan cannot help but attempt to get 2 very big wins. So we see that he's out of the armor. You wanted the the Iron Man suit. Take it. Don't kill this woman. If she's guilty of a crime, then she's due a fair trial. Paul's purity protocols. We have to stop meeting it like this. What happened to being invulnerable? I can't use my mental gifts when I'm a diamond. You saved me instead of running. It was self-preservation. By light of day, they would have claimed I killed you tonight. Nobody would believe it. Shh, you're concussed. It's like, I do love that she has a valid reason for it, but I also think that, like, she's got that reason, but that she did it to help someone. She saw somebody in need and decided to help. And I love that her costuming, like, how it's, like, changed throughout everything that's going on. She's like, Fei Long's like, she's harmless with the collar. It'd be a waste not to drill into her head. Take her to the gulag on Randall's Island. If Stark resists, arrests him. Prep both for enhanced interrogation. Well, if there's one thing my capitalist heart hates more than anything, it's a debt. So allow me to balance our books. Excuse me? Is that some tech bro euphemism? I can't read your mind at the moment. If you're suffering from a traumatic brain injury, and I love that. She's just like shitting on him for a little bit, and then he's like, rescue. And he takes his armor, and he puts it on her to get her out of there. She's like, what are you doing? Oh my god. And she flies off and gets out of there. And she's screaming, Anthony! It's funny. Tony's helping her, but in the most Tony way possible, as Fei Long's like, no, stop her! We need her dead or alive. You wanted me dead, so do it. Go ahead. Kill an Avenger in the street. You'd be dead by dawn. As Tony is, like, really fucked up, and we get, that's the end of the issue. Next, the end of Iron Man. It's like, Tony is in a bad situation, but he also got Emma Frost out of there. She, like, hopefully she can get to someone to get that inhibitor collar off, and granted, I love that she's like, who would want to be in this fucking thing? And Fei Long and the Stark Sentinels have beaten Iron Man and robbed him of his armor. But Tony isn't without his resources, his father's membership to the Hellfire Club, and his new stealth armor. So we'll have to see how that kind of works out. So I like this issue for tying in with the Hellfire Gala stuff going on, the Free Comic Book Day stuff going on, and then setting up the eventual kind of partnership with Iron Man and Emma Frost. Like, I understand that the wedding is more probably a convenience kind of thing and an interesting kind of partnership kind of way. But I loved what this issue did to show the framework of how Tony and Emma Frost have their kind of relationship together. We'd had other seeds in other issues as well, but this one really cemented how they kind of work together, how they kind of bounce off of each other, and it worked very well. They're both kind of arrogant, high-strung kind of assholes if you get them on a bad kind of day. But this showed them even on a bad day when their best selves kind of come through. Tony helping her out. Emma Frost helping him out when he's pretty much dying. And getting her out of there because she was in more danger at that moment. And Tony was like, screw that. And I love that it shows the core character of who he is. He will help people, even though sometimes his version of helping people creates vast fucking problems. But I loved the artwork. I loved Tony's consistent voice. I loved Rogue's voice, Cap's voice, and Emma Frost's voice as this was going on. And I can't wait to see how this works out. To set up a nice kind of thing where Fei Long fucked them both over. Tony's in the more kind of compromised position where Fei Long could utilize his Sentinels to pretty much kill him and say that Emma Frost did whatever, or utilize some kind of mutant hacking program to make his Stark Sentinels kill Tony Stark. But I did like that Tony was like, you know what, fuck this shit. He used his armor to get Emma Frost out of there because she was actually in more tactical danger because of Fei Long's anti-mutant objectives being more in the forefront than going after Stark. Stark is just a stepping stone that got him to the Stark Sentinels, which he could use better tech to make better Sentinels to go after the mutants. And I think that is going to be Fei Long's complete downfall because he thinks he's already completely and utterly bested Tony. And Tony is at his most dangerous when he is on the back foot and needs to engineer a fucking crazy-ass way to get out of something. So we'll see how that works out. We'll see how the Hellfire Club factors into this. Emma Frost factoring into this. It's exciting to me, and I can't wait to see what goes on. So those are my opinions on the issue. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.